in the 1917 Fatima apparitions, Our Lady not only identifies her own co-redemptive role, but in a powerful way calls each one of us to participate in the call of Christian co-redemption. Welcome to MaryCast. This is Dr. Mark Miravalle, Professor of Theology and Mariology at the Franciscan University of Steubenville, and we are in a mini-series concerning the Lourdes Marian Congress on Marian apparitions, but also the specific title and topic of Mary's role in redemption as present in 19th and 20th century apparitions. And even though in other programs we've talked about these issues in certain ways, I want to give you a synthesis, a continuity of how in these apparitions, these 5 principal apparitions, Miraculous Medal, Lourdes, Fatima, Akita, Amsterdam, you have a clear, consistent, ongoing message of Our Lady's role as co-redemptrix and as our invitation to be co-redeemers in a way that very beautifully parallels what the popes of the same period of time, the same history, have done in terms of articulating and with a growing development specifying Our Lady's unique role as the co-redemptrix. Now, at Fatima in 1917, the Blessed Mother comes and calls for a message of prayer, reparation, especially dedicated to her Immaculate Heart, but also to God and for the conversion of sinners. I draw your attention also to the 1916 and 1917 angelic apparitions. 3 apparitions from the guardian angel of Portugal, which call the children of Fatima to do penance, to do prayers of penance, to do Eucharistic acts of reparation. Why? Because God is much offended, to appease God and to effect the salvation of souls. In one point, one of the children asks, how do we make sacrifices? This is in fact Lucia. And the guardian angel says, make of everything you can a sacrifice. Isn't that a call for you and me? Everything can become a redemptive moment, offering our sufferings. And Fatima also clearly identifies Our Lady's role as co-redemptrix because on October 13th, 1917, the feast, the anniversary of when the solar miracle takes place, and in fact, on that October 13, 1917, you had 70,000 people. You have a solar miracle documented by local newspapers, and Our Lady comes and appears as Our Lady of Sorrows. Our Lady of Sorrows is the image of Our Lady Co-Redemptrix. And even earlier in the message, in arguably the single most important message of the 20th century from Our Lady, the July 13th, 1917 message, Our Lady talks about upcoming difficulties. The Holy Father would have much to suffer, the possibility of a Second World War, which of course we know took place, various annihilation of nations, but she comes and says she is the instrument given by God to bring peace. At one point in that message she says, only she can help you, meaning this is a task, this co-redemptive task, and really also continuing her role as mediatrix and advocate. This task is given by God to her alone. The more quickly we acknowledge her role, the more quickly she can fully exercise her role as the co-redemptrix. So Fatima is a profound message of prayer, penance, reparation to God for the conversion of sinners, and even the very important 5 First Saturday devotions where we go to the prayer and sacramental life of the Church, confession, Eucharist, rosary, all for world peace, all for salvation. At one point, Our Lady makes promises of salvation for those who respond. Well, that's co-redemptrix, and that's mediatrix. We go from Fatima to the 1973 apparitions in Akita. And the apparitions in Akita, Japan, were approved by Bishop Ito in his final approval in 1984. Now, the Akita apparitions, as the bishop himself states, are a continuation of the Amsterdam apparitions in 1945. And we have to start there because the image, the statue of Akita, is the statue of the Lady of all Nations from the image and from the apparitions in Amsterdam. So, a statue in a convent, a Japanese convent, weeps 101 times. That just, I don't mean 101 tears, I mean 101 different times of lacrimations, of tears coming from the statue, several of which were witnessed by the bishop himself. Over 500 people over a period of 1975 to 1981 witnessed these lacrimations, these tears. So Bishop Ito, the local bishop, after consultation with Cardinal Ratzinger, makes a statement that this is indeed supernatural. It's a phenomenon cannot be explained by nature, and it is something free for the faithful to accept. So the fact that this statue weeps 101 times, but even more originally, that the statue comes from Amsterdam. The image is from Amsterdam. And we realize, my friends, that God would never use the image of a false apparition to be the occasion of a new apparition which is approved by the Church as authentic. It would be nonsensical to do that. So, Akita and Amsterdam stand together. And I want to make one reference of the Akita apparitions. This actually took place after the end of the tearing. This is in late September 1981, when for a fourth time Sister Agnes, the visionary, receives a message. The first three came in 1973. The fourth one comes in 1981, and it's from her guardian angel. And the guardian angel comes and makes an appearance with the Bible, tells her to read the passage, and the passage is Genesis 3:15, and the angel then explains that there's a symbolic value to the 101 in terms of the number of the lacrimation or tears. The first one represents Eve, through whom salvation was lost. The second zero, I should say the zero between the first one and the second one, the zero represents the eternity of God, which never ends. The second one, the angel told Sister Akita, and this was all, by the way, contained in Bishop Ito's report to Cardinal Ratzinger, the second one refers to Mary, the new Eve, through whom salvation was won. And those are the words of the angel documented. Through whom salvation is won. Now we know, of course, salvation comes from Jesus Christ, but through the intercession of Mary. So, once again, the theme of co-redemptrix. And Father Yashuta, the spiritual director of Sister Agnes, makes very clear the message of Akita is the message of Mary co-redemptrix. Finally, we go to the Amsterdam apparitions, which took place in 1945, but were approved in 2002. The Amsterdam apparitions have as their principal message the call to solemnly define Mary's role as co-redemptrix, mediatrix, advocate. And in fact, that image of Mary before the cross represents this truth. In fact, in that image, she has wound marks in her hands that are healed. And going back to Akita for a moment, the statue at Akita, which is the statue of Our Lady of All Nations, actually wept, or I should say, brought forth blood. Blood came forth from the palm of the statue. Why? Co-redemptrix. Our Lady's suffering. The same theme with Akita and Amsterdam. So, in many occasions, the call of Amsterdam is a call for the fifth Marian dogma. I think that makes clear, and we've done several shows on Amsterdam. If you want to examine Amsterdam in greater detail, we've done a whole series on that. The message is this: heaven wants the full development of Our Lady's role as co-redemptrix. Heaven wants the solemn definition of Our Lady as co-redemptrix, a message which started in Rudebach and is continuing today. Our call is to pray for the Holy Father and for all that is necessary for this solemn definition. Especially pray the prayer of the Lady of All Nations, which the angel and Sister Agnes and Akita prayed together for this final goal. So the call for the dogma is a call for us. This is Dr. Mark Miravalle. Thanks for being with us at MaryCast. God bless you.